Welcome back. We are covering number one of the blockchain crypto DeFi at work. Keep or get a job over the next 20 years video series. I will leave a link to the playlist for this video series in the description, and also one will pop up at the end of this video that allow you to click on it. If this is your first video that you're watching, good job. Congrats. You're here. You're educating yourself. You're 5-10 minutes closer to getting those 10,000 hours that will make you an expert on something. So good job. Before we get started, click the thumbs up. If you've been here before, time to commit to Uncle Paul and free advice from your uncle here. So click the thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and then also click the alert button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And then, like I said, also share the playlist with anybody that might benefit from listening or watching this. Also, if you're a crypto vet, this is not for you necessarily, right? All the stuff that you're hearing about, maybe it'll help you in terms of just thinking about something for your work or job. But the first several videos have to do with just some of the verbiage and terminology that a lot of people hear. And again, this is a safe place for the newbies that may not be comfortable, engaging. And so again, this is just a safe place. But again, this whole series really points to how you can position and pivot from what you're currently doing or the industry you're currently in into this blockchain, crypto, or DeFi at your current job, or maybe a new job, a new company. But this is coming. It's here. It's already here. It's here to stay. That, like I've been saying, there's a wave coming. It's either going to crash down on you, or you're going to be able to surf it into prosperity. I want you to do the latter. I want you to surf it into prosperity. So good job. You're here. You're in the top 1% of people who are doing something about it and not sitting back and waiting. So the number one thing that you can do that will help you and help others with understanding what this is about is to use the technologies. Personally, get to know how they work. Doesn't cost much to do this. So inevitably, there's a couple of things that happen when you first get involved in this. And I'm not asking you to spend something you don't have or can't lose, by the way, because it's highly volatile. You can lose money on this. So I want you to be very careful and understand not every cryptocurrency is created equal. There's a reason there's a top 10, and not even those top 10 necessarily are long-term survivors. You have to do your own due diligence. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not certified. Don't make any decisions based on what I'm telling you. I'm just Uncle Paul from the internet, and that's not going to get you anything, right? So at the end of the day, but if you have a little bit of change and can open up an account, and I'm not recommending Coinbase over, Binance or Uphold. I tend to like Coinbase, and I have a link down to that in the video description as well. But but I like Uphold as well. But Coinbase, why I really kind of prefer them, even though they're doing some things that I don't agree with, but they're secure. They're getting ready to go public, so they're a lot more secure. They've gone through worked out a lot of the kinks in terms of security, and they have to, because they're going to be regulated by the SEC, because they're going to be publicly traded when they IPO here the next year or so, whenever that is, which means that they have to have their security in place, right? The same thing as if you feel comfortable trading on E-Trade, the reason you feel comfortable is because they're regulated also, right? Same thing with any of the other platforms that you may personally trade on. They're regulated, which means that there's some accountability and security precautions that have to be put in place. That's what's going on with Binance. There's some other securities, crypto platforms and exchanges out there that don't. So you've got to be wary of that a little bit. You got to be careful. That being said, what's going to happen if you have even $100 to spend, right? It's going to at least get your feet wet, like I've been saying, right? And that's what you want to do. And here's the steps that you're going to cover, right? Most people who typically start out by buying some Bitcoin, right? Because that's the big buzzword, right? Bitcoin is like Kleenex and buying a Coke down south. It means all pop, right? That's not the case though, but that's typically where people start out, right? Because it's the big buzz. It's skyrocketing right now too, but it's also having a little bit pullback the last couple of days. But what's going to happen is you'll start monitoring the price action on it, and it's pretty exciting. Then you'll start looking at some of the other currencies that are there. As you're checking out Bitcoin one day, you'll click on, Ethereum, or you'll click on XRP, and you'll start investigating and looking at the differences in prices, right? And then you'll start to become an educated investor by reading some of the project's mission statements and white papers, and you start reading industry news articles. You start subscribing to people's YouTube channels. And before long, you're going to look up and you're going to have more knowledge than you know, right? And you're not going to just be that casual investor or newbie investor. And that's typically how it happens. but that's the best way for you to gain that knowledge as well, right? You're going to be able to speak to it. You're going to, all the mistakes that you've made, right? I had a FOMO bad experience myself where I panicked and bought one on the way up, and I told myself I wasn't going to do it, but I did it anyway. Dag on it, I lost out. I could have had way more than what I thought I was going to have. That's okay. I'm still ahead of the game, but at the end of the day, you gotta take some lumps as well too. That's what gives you credibility. And so anyway, make sure you do not invest more than you can afford to lose, though, right? And you shouldn't gamble with this. Please, I encourage you not to day trade on this. This is so volatile. This is not what you want to do. You want to take the Warren Buffett strategy, look into quality companies and projects, invest in them long term, and you're going to find out something else too. It's called hodling, right? You're holding on for dear life. You're just going to hold it out, ride it out. That's what you want to be if you want to make it long term in this. But anyway, that's going to do it. Get using it. That's going to help you also pivot and get credibility and speak to it intelligently, and that'll be a good thing for you. So good job. Thanks for watching the series. Feel free to share this playlist. Click the thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and click the alert button, and we'll talk to you at the next series.